Hi, this is Laura and welcome to another Hero Arts video. Today we'll be learning how to make this simple stamped ornament card. It's fun to create for family and friends for the holidays and very easy to make. To get started, you can take a crimson note card and lay it flat because we'll be stamping on both sides. I'm using the poinsettia circle image along with Versamark ink. Once you stamp your image, you can go back and sprinkle gold embossing powder on top. Tap off the excess and then add a little extra if you missed a spot or two. Once that's complete, you can heat emboss this image using your heat gun until it's nice and shiny. Just a helpful hint, whenever I work with embossing powder, I always work on top of copy paper so I can pour it right back into the jar and I never waste any. Now we're ready to cut out our ornaments. I'm using a Nestability circle die cut here, but you can use a punch or whatever else you have on hand as long as it is smaller than the stamped image. You'll also want to trim out the bottom of your note card because we'll be using that in our next step. You can see the scrap at the top here. You can go ahead and trim that into two pieces at the fold line. And you'll end up with two panels like this that we will heat emboss with gold embossing powder and turn them into shiny gold panels for our ornament toppers. The easiest way to do that is to use Versamark ink, turn your panel over and place it directly onto the surface of your ink pad. Press down and make sure you get even coverage. You'll see the shine from the ink. And then go ahead and sprinkle the surface with gold embossing powder exactly the same way we did for the poinsettia circles. You'll heat emboss that, and it may take a little bit longer than it did for the poinsettia circles because you're covering that whole surface. But you can take some scissors and use scallop edge scissors along the bottom so that you can get a shape like this for your ornament topper. Once you've done that, you can trim out the rest of the shape using regular scissors, start in between two scallops, and just cut upwards and inwards on either side, and then cut across the top however tall you want your ornament topper to be. You'll end up with a shape like this, and you can use the rest of your gold scrap to create several more toppers, however many more you need. To assemble your ornaments, you can create an assembly line like this small one here. I've got my embossed circles and I've gone ahead and added some foam dots to the back of those for dimension, and I've created some silk ribbon bows. I like using silk ribbon for holiday cards because I tend to mail those versus giving them out, and silk ribbon lays really flat in the mail. It does a great job. The bows have a very tiny knot on them. I'm starting off with about 10 inches of ribbon, and I'm just tying a basic bow. There are lots of different techniques out there to tie the perfect bow. I just tend to start with a regular bow and then I fiddle with it and play with it until I get it to look the way I want. To get a V edge, you can fold your ribbon in half and then cut from the inside out, and you'll have a finished bow. To assemble your ornaments, I like to use glue dots. So I'm going to add the topper with a glue dot and then the bow with a dot on top of that. This particular design is great to do in stages. If you don't have time to do all of your stamping at once and do multiple cards, especially if you're making 20 or 30 holiday cards, you can do this in stages. One day you could do all your embossing, the next day you could punch or cut everything out, and then later you could do all your bows one evening in front of the TV. So it's very easy to create all of your cards but break it up into different stamping sessions. This is some gold elastic cording that I picked up at the local craft store. It's about 1 inch long, and I've just folded it and added a glue dot to the back of my ornament. Once your ornaments are finished, you'll want to just stamp your sentiment on your craft note card. So I have 3 craft note cards here, and I'm using a sentiment from the Holiday Saying set, this Peace, Love, Joy sentiment, but there's lots of great ones to choose from in that set. And I'm using some warm red chalk ink from the Holiday Ink Cue. This is a beautiful shade of red, and it shows up really nicely against the craft cardstock. So go ahead and stamp all of your note cards at once that you'll be doing. And then you can just peel off the back of your foam dots and add your ornament to the front of your card. And then your card is complete. So here are the 3 complete cards, but I thought I'd share one other design with you. It's an alternate version using the same techniques that you learned today. Rather than doing 1 circle, I've punched out 2 circles in different sizes and used slightly smaller bows. I've added some vertical lines from those, and then a square around the card, along with a different holiday saying. Here's the finished card and the original. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping!